Debt repayment strategies. Indebtedness is a common phenomenon experienced by a vast majority of individuals. The discussion of a debt repayment strategy may not always be perceived as alluring, despite the potential for others to gain insight from one's experiences and errors. However, notwithstanding the absence of explicit discussion on indebtedness, it remains extant and persistent unless appropriate measures are undertaken to alleviate it. What constitutes an effective approach to debt repayment? How can one determine the optimal choice for their individual needs? This video aims to examine the debt snowball method and the debt avalanche method and to determine the most suitable approach for individual circumstances. 1. Debt snowball. The concept of the debt snowball involves paying off debts in a specific order, starting with the smallest balance and working towards the largest balance. The debt repayment strategy entails prioritizing the settlement of smaller debts prior to addressing larger ones. The expectation is that upon the completion of payment for smaller amounts, the debtor will allocate the original payment amount towards the subsequent larger debt amount, thereby initiating a snowball effect in debt payment. Debt snowball mechanism. Arrange your outstanding liabilities in ascending order based on their respective amounts and prioritize the repayment of the smallest debt first. After fulfilling the initial minimum payment, consider exploring additional avenues to increase available funds for subsequent payments. Upon the complete repayment of the current debt, it is recommended to allocate the same payment amount toward the subsequent debt with the highest outstanding balance. Assuming a monthly payment of $30 for the minimum debt, the subsequent debt payment of $55 would result in a total payment of $85. Advantages of debt snowball. This particular approach to debt repayment enables individuals to build momentum and motivation toward reducing their outstanding debts. Maintaining concentration is comparatively simpler when discharging smaller sums. Achieving small victories can help sustain motivation over an extended period, as opposed to solely observing the gradual repayment of a larger loan. Disadvantages of debt snowball. Over time, the accumulation of interest may result in a higher overall cost, potentially negating any potential savings in the long term. The debt snowball method, which prioritizes the repayment of the smallest debt rather than the debt with the highest interest rate, may not always be the most financially optimal approach. Although the impact on the timeline may be negligible, the cumulative effect of financial considerations over an extended period is noteworthy. 2. Debt avalanche. The debt avalanche approach prioritizes the annual percentage rate over the principal amount of the debt. One recommended approach would involve compiling a comprehensive inventory of all outstanding debts. Also, organize them in descending order based on the corresponding interest rates. Prioritizing the repayment of the debt with the highest interest rate is a recommended strategy. By prioritizing the highest interest rate, this debt repayment strategy has the potential to generate long-term savings. Mechanism of debt avalanche. Upon fulfilling the minimum payment requirement for all outstanding debts, it is advisable to strategize on allocating additional funds toward the repayment of the debt with the highest interest rate. Assuming a scenario where an individual has a car loan of $25,000 with a 15% interest rate and a credit card balance with a comparatively lower interest rate of 10%. In this case, it would be advisable to prioritize the repayment of the car loan. Advantages of debt avalanche. Upon repayment of your debt, you would have effectively minimized the amount of interest and finance charges incurred. Disadvantages of debt avalanche. The absence of immediate successes in debt repayment may potentially lead to heightened discouragement along the journey. A prompt achievement that is expeditious in nature can certainly elicit greater levels of motivation. Strategies for quick debt repayment. It is possible to expedite the repayment of one's debt beyond initial expectations. Reducing one's living expenses is considered to be among the most effective strategies for increasing debt payments. There exist numerous unconventional methods to reduce housing expenses and enhance financial resources, even amidst inflationary periods. An additional effective approach to reducing debt is to generate supplementary revenue through a secondary occupation or a side business. The selection of an appropriate debt repayment strategy need not be intricate. After selecting the appropriate repayment approach, it is time to proceed. The individual is encouraged and reassured of their ability to successfully complete a task or achieve a goal.